Welcome to another edition of Real Talk. I'm your host, Joshua VanDerNoord, joined once again by the esteemed guest panel. This is Jack or Kinoflex, as he's better known on YouTube. Jack, Kinoflex, how you doing?
Pretty good. What's up, everybody?
And the bright and beautiful, as always, John Ward. How you doing, John?
I am doing fantastic, Josh from the north. How are you?
I'm doing very well. In fact, it's kind of funny you mentioned that. Josh from the north, my last name being VanDerNoord. My whole life I thought it was Josh from the north. John humbled me, enlightened me, said it's Josh of the north. I'm kind of curious, where does Ward come from? What's Ward mean?
Ooh, we're not the English wards. That comes from weird, which is a British family, means guardian or watchman. I'm an Irish. It's spelled Bhaird. Like, for example, Javier Bardem, the actor,
Ooh.
is actually closely related to me by name.
Mm.
And that version of wards is bard. The English word we use for it, Bhard, became bard. So warrior poets, dog.
Interesting.
Warrior Timing is quite perfect. Timing's quite on the nose. But but before we get into any more name drama, any more naming name schemes and whatnot, let's get into today's topic. So last week, the topic of the show was the prompt was One Room. This week we are talking about Antihero, and the film we decided to go with is Falling Down. So guys, I want to get you guys' take on this because hosting the show, I've got plenty of opinions about this movie. I want to get you guys first. So
Yeah, so this is kind of something John and I briefly discussed last night when I was in the studio, but I wanted to ask you guys how you would describe an antihero in your own words, because it's a term that can be pretty confusing to some people. And the definition I Googled doesn't really help in making it more obvious, because it defines an antihero as a central character in a story, movie, or drama who lacks conventional hero attributes, which is a pretty broad description. So how would you guys narrow it down? And I also looked up the definition for anti-villain, and it's the opposite. It's a villain with sympathetic qualities.
Like Gru,
Gru from Despicable Me.
would he be an anti-villain?
Well, he becomes a hero by the end of the film. So.
All right. It's all meaningless, these words. Yeah, I always understood anti-hero to be like a villain who is, for a change, the protagonist. Like, the argument could be made, everybody in Pulp Fiction is an anti-hero in some way.
Mm-hmm.
Also, there's like Deadpool. But anyway, we learned it was quite a bit broader than that. It's just we're limiting it to or expanding it to whatever you want to look at it. A central character, ideally the main one, like Falling Down, the main one, who has qualities that are not necessarily heroic.
right. Yeah, that's kind of my definition of it too, because when researching other movies to fit into our red, yellow, not orange, yellow category and
Yeah,
green
good job.
category, it was kind of like I was like, does this kind of fit into the category of an anti-hero? How I would describe it in a more like dumbed down version of what Jack said is it's a character, to me, it's a character that is not good. Like maybe an assassin or someone who does bad things that is put into a situation of a redemptive arc of some kind, or where a bad guy is forced to do something good. That's kind of what I define as an anti-hero.
What was funny is we got into this argument about, not argument, but accidental debate about the Punisher. So what is it? Jack says, what about the Punisher? And I was like, I think he's a hero. What's anti about the Punisher? And Jack says, well, he kills people.
Yeah.
I said, well, does he kill innocent? No, he only kills evil people. And I was like, well, he sounds like a fucking hero.
Mhm.
Yeah. In real life.
But in reality is killing is not necessarily everyone. I exposed a lot about myself by going to bat for the Punisher.
No, I actually think you raised a good point, because the Punisher, when we were recording last week's show, I kind of thought, and Antihero came up, Punisher was one of the first ones that came to mind, but I had the same thing. The more I thought about it, I was like, well, if you really look at the Iron Man movies, Iron Man kills people. So
Yeah.
what really is the difference?
So I guess in some ways that whether or not they're a hero or anti-hero depends on your own morality. Maybe I'm an anti-hero.
I was actually kind of on the fence about whether or not Falling Down was an anti-hero movie, but
Yeah.
I definitely think after rewatching it, I definitely think it is. I want to get you guys' take. So, John, you're the person
Yes.
who I was most curious about your thoughts on this movie. What before we get into like whether it was good, whether it was bad, why it fits into the anti-hero category, why don't you tell our audience cuz the main category movie is spoilers. Our suggestions we will not spoil, but this movie is definitely getting spoiled. So, John, go ahead and tell our audience a little bit about Falling Down and what it's about. Go ahead.
Falling Down is a 1993 American action drama film directed by Joel Schumacher, and I'm going to stop reading Wikipedia right there. Basically, Michael Douglas plays this guy who's stuck in traffic, just kind of fucking is the straw that breaks the camel's back. He pieces out of his car, he leaves it there, he's trying to get to his daughter's birthday. He goes on an ensuing misadventure, if you will, of increasingly escalating incidents, which I think at first, or maybe for the duration of the film, really kind of, I hate the word empower because of the way it's used now, but he sort of acts out against the rules in increasingly aggressive ways and gets sort of flushed with a sense of power and control over his life. He works for a defense contractor, I believe. He's an office guy, a little tie, a little short sleeve button down shirt. People don't really wear those a whole lot anymore. So he's supposed to sort of represent the, I think, white working, low end of the ladder of white collar. And all, the being stuck in traffic is sort of just the final obstacle of just annoyance in his life that makes him snap. He's trying to get to his daughter's birthday, so he goes through. There's some very famous scenes in these little episodes. So when I say it's episodic, not necessarily in a bad way, but I think first he goes into like a gas station and smashes it up. He then accidentally wanders into gang territory, fights those guys. I think the most famous scene is he goes into like a fast food restaurant and tries to order breakfast, but it's now the lunch menu, and so it's just. It connects with the audience even now, which is what, 30 years later, more than 32 years, 93. Am I doing that math right? It's still all the same BS you got to deal with. Waiting in lines, it's just as a low class person in America and how the system is just stupid and he just can't take it. It ends with him getting killed by Robert Duvall, but before that, he has the sort of famous little, oh, I'm the bad guy, is he has trouble believing. So that's sort of the basic plot. And I think, again, in discussing this with Jack last night, you can definitely make the argument that this is a subversive movie. You can also make the argument, like a lot of people identify with Michael Douglas's character, and he goes and shoots guns and shit. And how cool would that be if we could do that? But I'm going to turn it over to Jack rather than steal his thought on what about this movie makes it potentially subversive.
Yeah, so that idea actually isn't originally my own. Like I got it. I remember watching a video from the content creator Blackpilled. Very good creator. He doesn't post movie reviews anymore, unfortunately, but that was from 7 years ago, and I like the film. At that point, I still do. Like I would still maintain that's an entertaining film. But he changed my mind on it a lot, and I'm not going to reiterate every point he says because I would just recommend you guys go check that video out. But my overall thoughts on Falling Down is that while it's a good and entertaining movie, I do find it a bit overrated in the sense that it's how it's overhyped on the internet as a red pill movie. Uh, because when you actually delve into it, it kind of trivializes the problems of white working class or working class in general. Uh, when you actually take the time to look at Michael Douglas's character defense as he acts out everything, because he does raise some good points. John mentioned that he initially got out of his car, and that was like what initiated him going on his valid crash out phase as people in our times would call it. Then he starts going on more of a rampage with more people he interacts with, like Mexican gangsters who he disrespects after they try mugging him or intimidating him. But then, there are a number of other scenes where he's just like he's mildly annoyed over something, and he just act, and then he acts out while giving a speech. But the entire time, like when I was rewatching it, I was realizing he could be doing this in a more productive way. I feel as though this is sort of the director saying, like, acknowledging that people feel this way, feel like Michael Douglas's character. You're supposed to, like, Michael Douglas is saying valid statements. He is right to point out that inflation has gone out of control, and a number of other things, but by the end of the film, like he's still the bad guy, and he doesn't resolve anything. And Robert Duvall, when Robert Duvall shoots him, he tells his wife, like Defense's wife, divorced wife, that he to just like go on as if nothing happened. So none of his problems end up getting resolved, and that's why I think it's sort of the director wants dissidents or people who feel like Michael Douglas to sympathize with, to relate to him, so they can have a target on their backs almost.
I think the way you said it to me, I liked better then, which was just that they take all these feelings Michael Douglas's character has of this claustrophobic, almost oppressive society
Mm-hmm.
that's screwing him over, and then they create a spectacle of breaking through all of those barriers, and then they demonize the desire to be free from those sort of limitations. And so it like, again, I had read one reviewer say it's a Rorschach test, this movie. You're either gonna kind of identify with Michael Douglas, or you're gonna be rooting against him. And but again, the subversive nature was like, oh yes, you're a slave, you're a white collar slave. Now you break out of it. It doesn't really. There's no understanding of the emotion behind it, and like Jack's saying, he's going about it in a pretty extreme way. But the idea is that you had said to me, that was in the review you watched, was that it was almost like a cautionary tale for the plebs.
Mm-hmm.
Is like, don't you dare think of taking any of this into your own hands, or this is what will happen to you.
Yeah.
That's because, Jack, you actually basically stole the words right out of my mouth, which is, I think this movie, it is sort of a cautionary tale about Michael Douglas's character almost. And you're right. This movie is a very like right. It's like a American Psycho. It's very memeable to the right wing, but then
Mm-hmm.
just on a less analytical note, I think this movie sucks. I'm not a fan of it at all. And it falls to me into the category, intentional or not, of what I call like persecution porn. So like what's a good example of this is maybe Drive, even though I think that's a good movie, or a big one is Law Abiding Citizen. You guys familiar with Law Abiding Citizen
I don't know if I've ever
with
seen
Gerard
that. Is that
Butler?
Gerard Butler? Yeah, okay.
Gerard
Yeah.
Butler. I think I
Gerard
have.
Butler, Jamie Foxx. It is a good movie, but it's one of these movies where the purpose of it is it's almost like escapism for the disaffected white man. You know what I mean? It's
That's a good word.
revenge porn. It's revenge
Yeah.
porn where it's like, okay, you got screwed over by the system, become a terrorist, but lose, you know what I mean? And I think you guys actually raise an excellent point about how the director's goal almost seems to be a refutation of Michael Douglas. But
Yeah.
Jack rightly points out this doesn't it doesn't really address the problems he's facing that really everyone could face. But at the same time, it's like I get, this movie came out in 1993. It's also not a social justice movie. You know what I
No.
mean?
Really?
It's
Yeah.
so it was kind of hard for me upon rewatching it to kind of pin this movie down. And I wanted to
Well,
get
again,
you.
it just
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, and thinking about it now, maybe that is a good way to break it down. There's these problems, and then you have two diametrically opposed characters who deal with those problems, and then maybe that's
Yeah.
what Jax was saying is nobody ever talks about the problems themselves, and it's sort the film implies, oh, that's just life when it's clearly not. Um, and so the film sort of sets up this is the world, and you can either react to it this way or react to it this way. Of course, Michael Douglas being the bad guy. But Michael Douglas is the one talking about how stupid all of the rules are. He's the one pointing out. And so, yeah, that's to me, I think I agree. It is pretty freaking subversive.
Hmm. Yeah. So
That it's like the news. It's the shit they don't say. Nobody ever addresses that. Like, yeah, it is stupid if a menu switches over. I mean, that's a trivial thing. But there's real issues like that. It's sort of like voter fraud, maybe.
yeah, like to reiterate the subversiveness, it's not that what Michael Douglas his set complaints or his sentiments are invalid. It's that the director is trivializing them by saying, "Oh, well, what are you going to do? Like, actually, just blame the Korean convenience store owner like over inflation. That's not productive." And yeah, it's not productive. Like getting mad, like at McDonald's that they're not going to serve breakfast in the afternoon. Like, what are you going to do? And just like that's just like, well, it's more complicated than that, and you could obviously do it in more productive ways. And that's probably one of the most frustrating parts about the film is that you have to. The only way you can voice this like voice these grievances are through like a shooting spree or go acting like a psychopath when you absolutely don't like, and that's why I don't really like the Robert Duvall character as like so much, because he's clearly the character the director wants you to relate to, but the problem is that he's a loser.
I'm the bad guy? Yeah.
Like he doesn't resolve anything. Like as I was saying before, like when the Koreans
Well, I
jump
guess is his reward that he gets to keep living in Slaveville.
He his reward is that he realizes that, oh, I can keep on being a cog because
That's what I mean. Yeah.
then like because people who wake up and realize that their lives can be better, like Michael Douglas, like I can put a stop to them.
Good point. It presents the goal and the reward, the good ending, as being just staying a cog in the machine.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't sound very rewarding to me. Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, admittedly, I do think the director's intention with this movie is very hard to pin down, because I am reminded of a scene where he buys a rocket launcher from a neo-Nazi, and the guy is like, "You gonna kill some Jews with this?" And or something like
Got a
he's just
secret
as
Hitler room and back with some Zyklon B.
yeah, yeah. You want some Zyklon B, and and then Michael Douglas goes on this rant. Why can't we all just get along? Yet he's like shooting rocket launchers at construction sites full of people. It's a very just like I don't know what Michael Douglas is about. I think he's just
With a little ghetto black kid that somehow knows how to operate a rocket,
yeah. He saw it in a movie. He saw it in a movie. That's where it came from. But he also, with the Korean, the guy, he gets mad at him because he doesn't speak English good, or something like that. It's this movie's all over the place. And one scene I wanted to hone in, you brought it up, John, specifically, that I think is kind of like it gave me the sense that maybe the director is trying to point out the hypocrisy in Michael Douglas, where Michael Douglas goes to the what am I thinking of? The fast food restaurant that is clearly an analog for McDonald's, but some chain that the movie made up, and they stop serving breakfast at 10:30, and it's like 10:36, and then the manager gets in Michael Douglas's face, and he's very snarky. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. We just we stopped serving breakfast at this time." And Michael Douglas pulls out a gun in the middle of this, not McDonald's, and starts waving it in everybody's face. And I think it's fun. Like what I kind of liked about this, and maybe I'm reading too much into it. I want to get you guys' opinion on this take. Is like, to me, Michael Douglas is mad at the system and how it mistreats people. Yet the guy he's arguing with is this like 30-year-old dude managing a McDonald's in this world. And
Mhm.
this little bit of power, the fact that it's 10:36, it's not 10:30, you can't have breakfast, is probably the only vestige of power this guy has over his life. Is he in different traffic on his way to work? You know, they're all kind of stuck in this little system together, yet he's taking it out on his fellow prisoners. That was something I kind of thought took away from that scene. Did you guys get that vibe from it?
I agree.
Absolutely,
Yeah, I think
absolutely.
that's a good read.
That's what I got from the Korean store owner. Like, yeah, Michael Douglas is like does have a valid point in getting angry over inflation, over the increase in prices and everything. But at the same time, the Korean store owner doesn't have any control over that. And no duh, like the price of a soda in like a convenience store is going to be slightly higher or cost slightly more than what you'll find at a supermarket, because that's the point. It's a convenience store. Like, it's supposed to be readily available for you. So yeah, like him like taking out his frustrations on like some guy who's like who is on the lowest of the low in the social order, and not take it out on someone like someone who is causing inflation, like someone on Wall Street, or like a more white collar guy. That was just one of the moments that made me scratch my head and say, like, this guy should be smarter than this. Like, why, like, instead of just crashing out, like having a temper tantrum, he should be forming like a more coherent plan, especially considering his social background.
Yeah, it's like a propaganda that uses the lowest IQ avatar they can find. Like, it's almost, now that we're talking about it, I feel like we're all being mocked a little bit by the system.
Yeah.
Like, everybody, Michael Douglas and all the people he deals with are all just these little wage slaves, and the really the only representative of the government is Robert Duvall, and he's painted as like this great dude, even though he too is a wage slave.
Mhm.
You know
He
what's
also,
kind of interesting about that actually is you could almost argue that Michael Douglas's character is the analog for the system because he was a defense contractor. And
yes.
any of the people he's taking his rage
Mm.
out on buying missiles, you know, it said like he like designed missiles or something like that. It's the powers that be that are directly responsible for the way inflation, you know, immigration, not being hard enough on crime. You get all this gang violence that Michael Douglas befalls himself upon. It's their fault for not allowing that. Yet he was the beneficiary of doing business with them until he wasn't, and only then does he start to take his rage out on all of these other people.
Yeah, Josh, that's actually a great point, because I've seen some people compare, like, make Cold War analogies with this film, because if you guys remember, the Cold War officially ended in 1991. So by this time, by the time the film came out in 1993, the Cold War had just ended. So it makes sense to look at Michael Douglas's character Defense as like as a byproduct of the Cold War. They no longer have any need of him, so they let him go, and now he's just like, what do I do now? And that's part of what makes him spiral so much. We were primed to go to war over with Russia, but now that that's no longer on the table, like or at least at that time, uh, he has nothing to do, and he's directionless, so he doesn't know where to take out all this pent up anger and aggression.
It's actually an interesting take. I hadn't thought about that.
Well, I think what is trying to be depicted as a bad thing is snapping out of a repetitive slave routine by way of explosive emotion. I do think temporarily in the meat of the film, he is recapturing his ability to feel. He's um he is, even though they're all very negative interactions with people, like, he is finally genuinely talking to people. The gang member scene, for example, is those interactions, imagining they really happen, getting mugged. There's no conversation there, but I mean, yes, he manages to get the upper hand to force them to listen to him. But there is you know, in the fast food. Just these exchanges that normally end with this sort of rude version of politeness. I'm sorry, it's 10:36. It's like he then pushes beyond normal social boundaries, usually by pointing a gun in somebody's face, but he's like, "No, we're going to talk about this." So I do think there is a transformation there. And I think it is one that, when done correctly, you know, it's just like in 300 when a Spartan screams really loud as he jumps at Xerxes. Like, why do you do that? And so that's sort of when he fully commits to not giving a fuck anymore. It's like the guy jumping at Xerxes in midair, and then he just goes, ah!
Mm.
Jesus Christ.
No, I think you raised a good point. You could argue this entire movie is a prolonged suicide attempt.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a prolonged life attempt. That's what I'm getting at. Like, he goes wild.
Yeah, but the point of us like ripping on the film isn't to say, oh yeah, you can't enjoy it, because I do still find it to be an entertaining film on rewatch, but I think it's like a mistake to look at it as something it's not. I can still see it as, like, despite the director's intentions, I can still look at it as a PSA on why you shouldn't become black pilled. Like, you're going, like, when you're living in like the modern, in modern civilization, you're going to have modern problems, obviously. But it's important to not be disillusioned because you're not alone. And if you like do something hasty, then like go on a shooting spree, like kill yourself, do anything like that, then you're going to just miss out on making things better or living to see them overcome potentially. So yeah, that's what I would say is my positive reading of the film, despite his intentions.
It's like how, for example, Ted Kaczynski wrote a manifesto, explaining why technology is the downfall of society, how we're becoming less and less cohesive of a nation. But rather than dedicating his mind to maybe some political aims or trying to fix it, he decided to build bombs, and that's why I think you could argue that this story, while to some it might be indulgent revenge porn, as they say, it is a cautionary tale about the quick fix, where what you're really doing is invalidating your own apprehension to the system. So Michael Douglas's character has all of these problems with the things he's dealing with: traffic, the food stuff, gang violence, foreigners in his nation, inflation. All these things are totally reasonable things to be upset about, but the way he handles it only hurts his cause rather than helping it. So I think whether or not that's the director's intention, that's definitely, I think, the positive takeaway. And like you said, Jack, I actually agree with you, where there's a lot of movies where what the director is trying to get across, I disagree with the message, but I can enjoy the movie for what it is. So I think this is a good example of that, despite the fact that I don't actually enjoy this movie.
I think it's worth watching. I'll give it watch it. 2 thumbs sideways.
Yeah, I'd say it's a solid 6 or 7 out of 10.
Solid 6, 7 out of 10. Couldn't help myself. Oh my goodness. So unless you guys have any follow-up thoughts on Falling Down, I think we covered it pretty well enough. I'm ready to get into my favorite portion of today's show, of all the Real Talk shows, the recommendation portion. You guys ready to get started?
Yes, I am.
Let's do it.
All right. So
right here.
Last week it was Jack, me, and then John, which means this week it's going to be John, Jack, and then me. So Jack, you go ahead. I'm going to put you on full screen here so we can see our light. You're going to roll for John. Go ahead.
All right. Here we go. Let me know when.
Boop, boop, beep, boop, boop, beep, boop. It'll stop on its own.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Boop, boop, beep, boop, boop, beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, boop. Yellow.
Yellow.
All right. Do I do it
Or,
right now?
as some
we-
might say, orange. No,
Orange.
I couldn't help myself.
Kind of forget. Do I go into it or do we all spin first?
We all spin first.
All right.
And then
okay.
we go in order of so red, yellow, green. So that means you go ahead and spin it, and whoever gets red goes first. So go.
Wait,
So
who's
you're
he
spinning for you.
for?
Jack is spinning for himself right now.
Okay. All right. Yes, I don't know if we said, but green is a better anti-hero movie than
All
Falling
right, I'm
Down.
doing
Red is
red.
worse. So Jack gets
That's probably
red.
good because I probably have the most notes on my red movie.
All right. So Josh,
And now you roll for me,
you can do the. Let's just.
even though it's going to be green.
Third press is always a test of my Arduino code, but it should be green. Hopefully. Hey!
The genius John Ward has done it again. Genuinely, I'm very impressed by that prop. I was blown
really
away.
It's not that impressive, man.
A
like how
humble
you keep
genius as well. Well, here I am thinking, oh man, maybe I'll have to do this virtually. Maybe one day in the distant future we can get a stoplight that works like this. And John was just like, "I got you," and then
Yeah, if you
created
ever
it in like an
driving
evening.
on the road and your fucking stoplight starts doing that, you know who tampered with it.
That could be your falling down story. You just mess
There
with
you go.
stoplights.
There you go.
So,
All right, so we're doing green goes first or red goes
no.
first?
Red, yellow, and then green, which means Jack, I believe you got red. So Jack goes first.
Worse anti-hero movie than Falling Down.
Okay. So before I tell you what it is, I want to give you my tell you the mindset I have on what a bad anti-hero film is. So to me, a bad anti-hero film would be where the story tries to frame a bad person in a favorable light because of their circumstances, expecting you to be on their side.
Oh, I like this.
But the writers overlooked several.
So bad.
Yeah, but the writers overlooked several aspects of the plot that actually provide no sufficient justification for why they're acting the way they are. So you just end up hating them all throughout the movie. So my pick for Red is a film directed by Richard Linklater called Hitman and stars Glenn Powell. It's actually a very beloved film, or just well liked film. If you check out review sites like Rotten Tomatoes, I hated it. I found it complete garbage. And I'm going to tell you the plot. So it's about Glenn Powell playing both a philosophy professor and Fed, like federal agent, well, part-time federal agent, not officially a federal agent, full-time, because he plays he dresses up as a hitman, expecting, and they think he to incriminate these people, and he uses this as an opportunity to get them to admit to various crimes that they wouldn't admit to normal people. So in a way, he's Ray Epps, if I could describe his character, or his job, I should say. And admittedly, that is the most interesting part of the film because he gets into these people's heads, the people he's going after, and he makes assumptions on what type of people in their head they think is so cool that they would want to talk to, because he's not simply dressing up as a hitman. He's like using an aesthetic they find appealing, and I found that to be an interesting aspect, but that gets dropped very early on in favor for a romantic comedy plot with his love interest. I forget the actress's name, but she's a very attractive Puerto Rican lady.
Adria
And
Adorno.
Adria Adorno, that's her. But she hires or tries to hire Glenn Powell to murder her allegedly abusive husband. But he starts using this hitman persona to get with the Puerto Rican girl, where she thinks he's a hitman, and so they start dating under the radar. Like his coworkers at at the FBI or federal agency doesn't know about this. But eventually they have a run-in with her ex-boyfriend, and there's a confrontation. Like, he's yelling at her. He said he's very emotional, say, "Bitch, I'ma kill you," and then he like walks away. And but eventually, like, he's brought on, Glenn Powell's brought on to do another sting operation, and it's the boyfriend trying to hire him to murder his ex-girlfriend, the Puerto Rican lady. Like, so it's just like a pretty confusing, like, thematically, it's a pretty confusing film for me. Because it's encouraging you to live a life that you're actually not. Like, Glenn Powell, like, could have had that life all along if he if he just became more confident. He didn't have to change his entire life to fit that of a murderer in his head.
I think Jack, the reason this film is very hard to pin down thematically is because some Hollywood exec just gave them a movie to make. You know, does that make sense? Like, I feel like this
Yeah,
movie, because I've seen it too, and I agree, this movie sucked. Like, honestly, as you were describing it, I had to like really dig deep to even remember the things you're talking about. This was an insanely forgettable movie. It got memory hold in my own head, and it was very like, what is the point of this? It made no sense. So I do like that, because I get why this fits the anti-hero category, and this is definitely worse than Falling Down. John, have you seen this movie?
I
If
have
you're with
not.
us on it.
I don't watch Glenn Powell movies.
Yeah. Again, the reason it's an anti-hero film is because Glenn Powell's character does all these terrible things, and he's framed in a favorable light, when I just viewed him as a hypocrite. The guy was just a hypocrite, like, the entire film. Like, he was looking down on all of these people he was incriminating, but the moment someone he wants to fuck comes along, he's just like, I'm having like a moral crisis.
Is this really a movie that's meant to have a meaning, or is it just meant to have retarded people hand over $15?
It's supposed to. It's kind of in between. It's supposed to be a black comedy, so yeah, it is supposed to be like made for laughs.
I
Some
believe
Then
of it,
it's
why was
straight
there
to
only white
Netflix.
people in it?
huh?
Then why were there only whites in it?
Well, there's a Puerto Rican.
Yeah. Hey, Puerto Rican. Two things. To John's point, I think this was a straight to Netflix movie. I think this was
Yeah,
a
it was straight.
Netflix.
Ooh, straight
Yeah, it
to
was.
Netflix.
So the idiots already forked over their $15 at the beginning of the month. And in Glenn Powell's character's defense, those Puerto Rican cheeks would get me to turncoat too. Let's be honest. Puerto Rican, but yeah, that
Stay away from Hitman is what I'm hearing.
stay
Yeah,
away from
I guess
Hitman.
my biggest gripe is the ending, where they just get away with it, because I would have liked if Glenn Powell learned a lesson. Like, he was just like, oh yeah, like, I didn't learn anything from like chasing after. I didn't learn anything after chasing after like these aesthetics, because this girl, I was playing other people this entire time throughout the film, but my love interest, she played me, and now I'm paying for it. I would have loved to see that. I would have loved to see that as an editing, but we didn't get that. Instead, we just get them getting away with it.
Yeah, I think this was a like studio. You all right, John? Studio. The studio just like filled out a sheet and was like, make this movie. And they were like, all right, fine, here's some money for us. But John, I'm curious, what was your red pick for the anti-hero category?
My red pick.
Yes.
I think it was Suicide Squad.
Oh, 2016. Yeah, that fucking sucks.
Yeah, that movie was bad. The 2016 one, not the 2021 one. I thought the 2021 one
Yeah, it was
was
James
good.
Gunn.
So it's kind of funny you mentioned Suicide Squad being your red pick, John, because mine was of a similar ilk. I decided for my red pick to be Morbius. You, you
Oh.
guys, it's Morbin time with
Yeah.
Jared Leto. This was an anti-hero movie because the comic book character Morbius is in fact an anti-hero comic book, literally created to be like a semi-hero, semi-villain to Spider-Man. and I saw this movie in theater, and it was complete and total ass. It was one of the worst movies I've seen. And do not watch Morbius. It's not even a good ironic watch. It's not like a so good it's bad type
Oh,
movie.
it's like one of the worst kind.
It's
Okay.
boring.
Yeah.
Like don't get tricked by the memes like for Falling Down.
Yeah.
While Falling Down can be considered a good movie, Morbius very much isn't. And it's part of this, like, it was part of this weird phase that I think is hopefully now dead, of just inserting Spider-Man characters and giving them their own standalone movies, which doesn't make any sense, because besides this, there was Craven, there were the Venom movies, there was Madam Web, and like Sony just completely dropped the ball on it, because if you don't have Spider-Man in these movies too, then what are you doing? There's no point.
Absolutely. John, are you good to go on your orange?
Fuck, are you fucking? Did you really accidentally say orange?
So this is not. I'm saying this. This is
Was
not
that on
going in it.
purpose?
Like, no, I slipped up. That was on me.
Where's
I don't
that
know why.
coming?
I don't
Did
call
you
them.
live in some country somewhere they had orange lights instead of like? Where's that coming from? I've never heard a single person say the orange light. I've never heard that.
I think I'm subconsciously being an asshole because I don't even say orange light at a yellow light. You know, like I was like, oh, it's yellow. I don't know why.
That's
I
what I
don't know
mean.
why I have
I've never
orange
heard
in
that
my head.
before either, but yet it's very consistent. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready with my orange
All
one.
right, all right. So
Josh.
let me go ahead. That was just to like actually check and see if you're good. I'll set it up real quick. So it's like,
I
all
don't know.
right. So,
I think you
oh,
can use that.
huh?
I think you should use the orange part of it and then cut
Well,
into.
definitely gonna use that. Hey, you know what? Screw it. Let's. I think it's. I
Yes,
think
sir.
it's good. So,
Let me get one more hack and a drink out before you lead into me.
speaking of hack, go check out Nap. No, I'm kidding. Go check out Zeb Boykin's channel. No, I'm teasing. I'm teasing.
All right,
All right.
I'm gonna power through this part without coughing.
Do you just want to take a break first, or like
No,
get
let's
all
do it.
out?
No, we're good.
Okay. John, what is your yellow pick?
I was kind of wrestling between two for yellow. I ultimately ended up going with one we've already talked about, which is American Psycho. There are some very, very good movies that are not rewatchable, in my opinion. So if you're talking about an anti-hero here, if the purpose of the movie is to watch somebody's personal journey, I might make the argument that the ones that you can watch a second time are a little bit better than the ones you can't. Even though I think most people would say Taxi Driver is a much better movie than American Psycho. So I'm going to go with American Psycho just because it's, I think, better kind of satire, kind of commentary than Falling Down is. It's much more rewatchable. It's infinitely quotable. But for the same reasons, I believe we've evinced that Falling Down was made. I think American Psycho was supposed to make fun of the Patrick Bateman character and ended up having the complete opposite effect for most young male viewers like myself. Based off the novel by Bret Easton Ellis, who was, I think, gay, if I'm not mistaken. And it's just the struggles of a guy that has no struggles anymore. Like, what kind of person do you become when you have want for nothing? So Bateman is this ultra rich VP with a meaningless job at an investment bank, I believe. And so him and everyone around him in different ways are just totally fucking insane. His wife or his fiance is insane. She's cheating on him with his friend. He's cheating on her with that guy's. Like, it's just. And then so Bateman is sort of like this empty vessel psychopath who tries to fill the void with these crude imitations of what he perceives to be normal people, what they do. And so I have to return some. He's always renting videotapes. Of course, he rents like violent pornography and then has it on in the background while he's like talking to normal people. So it's like he's kind of like an alien from another planet that is like trying to act like the native species, but also resents and looks down on the native species so much he doesn't really ever end up trying that hard. Probably one of the best is that speech he gives in that fucking restaurant about like we need to end anti-Semitism.
Over there? Come on, Bryce. There are a lot more important problems in Sri Lanka to worry about. Like what? Well, we have to end apartheid for one. and slow down the nuclear arms race, stop terrorism, and world hunger. We have to provide food and shelter for the homeless, and oppose racial discrimination, and promote civil rights, while also promoting equal rights for women. We have to encourage a return to traditional moral values. Most importantly, we have to promote general social concern.
Cool with the
And we,
anti-Semitic.
yeah, well, yeah, but then he's like, we need to, end world hunger. Like it was like reading. It's just, yeah, it's like just like he read it out of a magazine and then took it seriously. Or of course, when he murders Paul Allen when he's doing the Huey Lewis in the news, like that sort of surreal. He's like reading. He's literally, you can tell, reading some article from some fucking music review. So anyway, whereas I would not recommend Falling Down to like watch it once. You probably won't ever watch it again unless you do a show like this. American Psycho, especially when you run into younger guys like yourselves that haven't seen it. There's a lot of we have a Bateman sticker on the front door of our studio, and tons of kids have no idea what it is. And the ones that do don't come in here, but which is the point of it. But that is a movie I think if you've seen it and you recommend it to probably men, but like women like to watch Bateman run around with his shirt off and stuff too. Young Christian Bale. I think he was 26 when he made that movie, I believe.
Okay.
It's entertaining. It has a bit of a confusing ending and no resolution. I guess it's sort of nihilistic, but yeah, it's like if you watched a 2-hour movie version of Keeping Up the Kardashians, but it was like way better.
For psychopath rich boys.
Yeah,
right?
It's just like what's a investment banker crazy guy's life over a course of a few weeks. And then of course it has Willem Dafoe is fantastic. Has Jared Leto, fuck that guy. But I mean, I have learned if it's Leto in a leading role, skip it.
Yeah.
But
That's I forgot that Jared Leto was in that. That's two recommendations or not recommendations, sort of.
They probably didn't even have him act. They're like, that's just his actual personality.
He didn't know he was in the movie. So I have just one thing to say about your suggestions, John.
Impressive. Very nice.
Let's see your suggestion, Josh.
So, so my suggestion for the yellow category of movies that are sort of underrated, they fit the category. I decided to go with a movie that is probably well known, but is kind of slept on. That's why I put it into the yellow category. My recommendation is Hancock with Will Smith and Jason Bateman.
You like that shit?
I actually never seen it.
I love Hancock. That to me,
are you kidding?
No, I'm totally serious. So, brief rundown of Hancock's plot. Let me put myself on full screen. Yeah. John is none too pleased.
Reaction faces.
Wait.
Here. Hold on. I'm gonna.
Is this a film where Will Ferrell? No, not
Will Smith.
Will Smith, yeah, Will Ferrell. What am I saying? Where Will Smith throws a whale back into the ocean?
Yes, it is.
Off at him.
Okay, all right. I see I'm getting a little bit of heat, especially from John, which is ironic since he has a cold. But I love Hancock. Hancock is it's a story where Will Smith basically plays Black Superman. And you could argue it's racist, but I would say it's not, because Will Smith is a deadbeat, he's a drunk, and he has the power of a god. He can fly, he's super fast, he's infinitely strong, and he just wastes away his talent. When he does save the day, he is a lowercase h hero, where he stops bank robbers, rescues people. Like, as Jack pointed out, he tries to rescue a whale by just launching it into the ocean, and he's very irresponsible. And he eventually saves Jason Bateman's character, and Jason Bateman basically helps him down this redemptive arc path where he cleans up his life and becomes a better version of himself. And me personally, I love friendship movies. I love movies where two guys basically like either solve a problem, or several guys. What'd you say?
Careful. You love movies where two guys what?
Have sex with each other. Not the deleted scene. No, I'm kidding. I love it because Hancock he's not a good guy, but he's basically just going through the motions, but eventually kind of comes around to taking responsibility for his own life and becoming a better person. So that's my underrated pick for the yellow category. Now, John, he said earlier he's running out of steam a little bit, but I'm curious to see why he said you like that shit.
Tell you the truth, I don't remember it that well. I just remember thinking it sucked. I mean, what year did that come out?
I think like
Like
early 2000.
2008.
Okay, early
Oh yeah,
like late 2000.
so like ancient history. You know, I will say I genuinely thought about it for a second. It was I believe if I recall correctly, it was horribly marketed.
Mm.
Like it was one of those where you went into the theater expecting something and it was totally different than what you
Oh,
expected.
people actually expected Will Smith to be like a straightforward superhero, like
Not
Superman.
like a straightforward superhero, but maybe a little more Will Smith.
That's
Yeah.
As
that's what I remember when I was a kid was I thought this was going to be a black Superman movie. So there's no villain in the movie. Like there's one other character has superpowers, but they're not enemies. And so there's no like
I
General
think that's
Zod
kind of
versus Superman.
yeah. I think that's kind of how they cut the trailer. You know, this happens often where sometimes the movie they realize is not going to be good, and so they just try to cut the best possible trailer they can to make as much money as they can before people catch on. Sometimes though, movies are actually pretty good, but the executives get worried that like normal people are not going to like it, and so I believe what they did with Hancock is they cut a trailer together that it was like black superhero. Probably had a few clips of him being like drunk and stuff, but it was like, oh, so it'd be like Will Smith being funny and I mean, Will Smith was such a friggin' star.
What
Up
happened?
until Hancock happened, I think, is honestly what happened. I'm not even kidding. He was like a major A-list guy there for a while. Um,
I think
but he was also
Hancock's funny. I think it's a funny movie.
I wouldn't say like
It's
Hancock happened to his career. I would say that his wife happened, if you know about that. Yeah.
true,
well,
but
they've
Hancock,
been
I
married a
believe,
long time.
massive critical failure, wasn't it? Like it lost a ton of money, and I think it's not very highly rated. Am I
It
wrong
it
about that?
was it was a critical failure, and I'm sure it maybe. Nah, I'm doubling down. It's a great movie. It's I would recommend John. You go ahead and rewatch it. I do recommend it. I think it's really fun. It is not what you would expect. Think of it like The Blind Side, but entertaining. It's not pretentious as all hell. It's not pretentious as all get out. But
Oh, that makes me want to watch it less when you throw that in there.
Yeah.
it's in the sense where you've got a white savior saving
Oh,
a down on his luck black guy who just can't get his life
Yeah,
together. I'm teasing.
I was about to say that you joked about being racist, but I feel like as though some people would say it's racist based on your plot synopsis.
I know that I was cracking up with that too. You're like, it's not racist just as a black Superman. He's just like a deadbeat, doesn't have fucking take care of his kids. This
He's
went
an
on the
alcoholic.
list like every black stereotype.
And I'll be honest. I mean, I was 10 years old when this movie came out. I
Oh,
didn't
now I know why you
really.
liked it.
You bastard. I definitely probably even now I would say like whose idea was it? But I think it's because it's Will Smith that they can kind of get away with that. Let's have our deadbeat Superman be Will Smith. He can kind of play. He plays the role well. He's definitely a good actor, hiding his homosexuality for so long. No, I'm teasing. But with that being, so that's my yellow pick. Not acclaimed by my co-host, but that's okay. As Zeb says, you have the right to be wrong. So Jack.
You know what? If you're watching this and you're 10 years old, go watch Hancock. You'll love it.
Wait, Josh. Before I move on to my yellow pick,
Yes.
have you seen Blank Man with Damon Wayans from 1994?
No.
You should watch Blank Man.
Blank man.
Blank Man. The Wayans
But
brothers, I don't know. I've never seen White Girls. I've never seen Major Payne. I've only
Major Pain
seen
is actually kind of funny.
Yeah, it's not white girls, it's white chicks. Get it right, Josh.
White Chicks. My bad. So, I have seen the scary movies, and those are funny. Some
He's
of
coming
them.
back with another one. So that'll be interesting.
I'll have
Jack,
to check it out. Your yellow
what's your
pick, Jack.
What's your yellow?
My yellow pick is something that could have easily been my green pick,
Ooh.
and it is a Clint Eastwood cowboy western called Unforgiven. Not sure if you guys have seen it, but
Why is that yellow? Why yellow? Everyone that
So-
won an Oscar.
the reason it's yellow is two reasons. Because I feel as though yellow picks are reserved for like underrated or films that aren't given a whole lot of attention. And I feel like a lot of
Won an Oscar.
yeah, it's good. It's a great film,
I think.
but I feel like a lot of people my generation.
Okay, fair. Yeah.
I feel like a lot.
I
of
was
people
going to say,
don't-
in Jack's defense, I don't know what he's talking about.
Oh, you've never seen Unforgiven?
Nope.
Oh my God, you're in for a treat. Go ahead, Jack. Sorry.
Yeah, so I don't want to spoil it for Josh, but it follows Clint Eastwood and Gene Hackman playing two antiheroes, and it's a bit debatable over who's right in the end. But it's a great western because it makes you think about what it would actually be like to be living in that time period.
I will add briefly to that. It has one of the coolest endings of any movie ever because part of what's set up is that Clint Eastwood was a horrible murdering alcoholic. He straightened out for his wife. His wife dies. He then takes this job, refuses to drink over and over until the final shootout with Gene Hackman. By the way, Josh, Oscar for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Supporting Actor, Gene Hackman, Best Film Editing. It's a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I'll check it out because I love a good spaghetti western, even though it's not a spaghetti
not.
western.
Not spaghetti western, not spaghetti
It's a
western.
burger western shot in America.
Fair enough. A good burger western.
You know where it was shot?
I don't know.
Don't make it up. If just so you know, I don't know.
I don't know.
It's okay to not know.
I don't know what specific criteria a burger western is, but I do know that it's
Because I made it up.
But I do know
America,
it's
Utah,
Spaghetti
probably.
western was shot in Italy. That's
Oh.
what. They shot them in Italy.
Oh,
spaghetti western.
Yeah.
okay. But this is like less of a straightforward cowboy western and more so of a one that makes you think. It subverts tropes.
It's got Morgan Freeman
Okay.
in it.
Oh, all right. I love me some Morgan Freeman.
And yes, he looked exactly the same in '92 as he does now.
So that wraps up the orange. I'm gonna go ahead and share finally.
Fucking yellow, Josh.
Son of a bitch, you're right. I'm leaving this in though. We'll do it live. Screw it.
I'm one more show away from just changing that to an orange
This is
light.
going to be a great running gag.
I need to get like note cards or something, you know. So for finally, the green category, my pick for the green category is Joker from 2019. And the reason I went with Joker from 2019 is I'm going off of my definition. I know we kind of had some disagreement at the beginning of the show of what fits what actually is a anti-hero story. And so my definition being a character that is not good being forced to confront something that they otherwise wouldn't, or that they're doing something bad and you're rooting for him. They are the antithesis of a hero. I picked Joker because this is a lot like our main pick, Falling Down. It's a character that is being pushed down by life, by society, by everything around them, his own mother, etc. Everything that he wants is kept from him in his own mind. So what does he do? He lashes out, and to him, this is a story of overcoming adversity, but in reality, it is just lashing out at the world around him. So I think this is a very similar movie to Falling Down, but to me, it is the better version of it. Even though Michael Douglas's character is probably more relatable to the average person, you empathize more with Arthur Fleck, aka the Joker, played by Joaquin Phoenix. So that is my pick for the green category.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great pick.
Yeah, I definitely agree with your pick or with your assessment of Joker being better than Falling Down because Arthur Fleck is more easier to sympathize with because he is forced into several situations where he does have to use force, like the subway scene.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So that's my pick for the green category. Before we wrap up, I want to know what you guys picked. John,
my green was
go ahead.
Unforgiven. It was Unforgiven. You can skip me. That was
really
yeah.
Okay,
wow,
perfect.
Nice.
Dang,
Okay.
I need to watch this movie.
Sweet. That's a hell of an endorsement then, Josh. Yeah, but it's great that you picked Joker because of how different my green pick was, Josh. Because I chose the Coen Brothers, The Big Lebowski, because and a
Ooh,
lot,
I never even thought of that one.
yeah,
Hmm.
because the dude can very much be considered
That's a
an
great pick,
anti-hero.
Jack.
The dude can very much be considered an anti-hero because a lot of people seem to think that an anti-hero has to necessarily be like a violent,
No, you're right. We
yeah,
were all in that headspace.
yeah, but like the dude can very much be considered an anti-hero because he still possesses a bunch of unconventional qualities that aren't befitting a hero. He's lazy. He's not necessarily smart. He's a procrastinator, and he doesn't. He thinks small. All throughout the film, like what he prioritizes is getting a replacement rug that was pissed on at the start. But what makes him
By
a
a
heroic
Chinaman.
by Chinaman, yes. But what makes him a heroic character in my eyes uh, is his ability to like be modest, to look at his situation, to look at himself and be honest with himself. And it contrasts himself with everyone else in the film who's trying to chase something, or trying to convince themselves that there's something that they're not. Like his friend Walter, like he's trying to always be a tough guy, uh, but it just makes him come across as an unhinged lunatic. The other Lebowski tries to present himself as this uh, super rich, charitable guy, but he's a selfish old loser who's not even in control of his finances, and that's what makes the dude the true Big Lebowski of the film. And I just find it to be a really enjoyable film that I always enjoy rewatching. It's what I would consider a 10 out of 10.
I agree. I
I think,
think
yeah, I
that's
would
a
agree.
great pick. The Big Lebowski. And I apologize to YouTube Terms of Service. I know Chinaman is not the preferred nomenclature, but
We can
but
censor it.
yeah. So that's the green. That was Jack's green pick. John, you picked
Big
Unforgiven.
Lebowski,
Yeah,
Unforgiven.
the Big Lebowski. I don't know about you guys, but when I'm watching comedies, very rarely do I actually laugh out loud. There's very few comedies, especially nowadays, that
Yeah.
if I were watching it alone, I would not laugh out loud. The first time I watched Big Lebowski, I was by myself. And there's several scenes in this movie. Like it's a very funny movie, but at best it makes me like chuckle. I died laughing at the scene where he's with that porn star guy, the like Hugh Hefner guy, and he sees the guy take a yeah, John sort of he sees the guy take a phone call and write something down on a notepad, and then the guy leaves the room. He goes over to the notepad where like the post-it had been taken, and he scribbles on it to get the outline of what he had wrote down. And it's a woman with a penis, like a drawing of a woman with a penis. And it's like such a otherwise serious scene that just like came out of nowhere. Oh God, it's I know I'm kind of spoiling it. Oops, but watch the Big Lebowski. That is
I mean,
definitely a good watch.
it is a spoiler, but so context free of anything that it's just going to make people more curious.
Absolutely.
I was just thinking of the scene where he, I think, first meets Tara Reid, and she's like, "I'll suck your dick for $1,000" or something like that. And fucking Philip Seymour Hoffman's like, "Oh, that's our bunny."
Yeah, he was great in that movie too. Philip Seymour Hoffman was
Oh, always joking.
yeah. And he's just like far out. Yeah. All right, guys, you heard it here. Those are our picks. The great, beautiful, genius, humble genius John Ward picked Suicide Squad for his red movie. Don't watch Suicide Squad. That is a 10 out of 10. Would not recommend. For the yellow, I went with Hancock, the
Freud
underrated
was right.
masterpiece. Yeah, the two guys, the underrated masterpiece with Will Smith and Jason Bateman. If you haven't seen it, give it a try. And Jack, aka Kinoflex, went with The Big Lebowski for the green pick. as the anti-hero category. Those are our red, yellow, and green picks for this week. But without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and spin the wheel.
Oh, shit. Sorry. I think you're good. I made it till after without further ado. I really think I made it.
Well, it doesn't matter because that was funny and it's staying in the it's staying in the final cut. So I'm going to go ahead. Let me. And our category for next week is historical accuracy. So that means next week we got to think, we got to brainstorm. Please leave some recommendations in the comments section or DM us on Twitter. Links are in the description below. But that's our pick for next week, or category prompt for next week: historical accuracy. I appreciate. You already have yours?
My
All
red
right.
pick, at least, yeah.
Titanic, I would imagine. No, but maybe, who knows? But with that being said, that's a wrap for this week's edition of Real Talk. Thank you again to John Ward and Jack, aka Kinoflex. This has been Real Talk, and we'll see you guys again next week.